The EU says F you to privacy. Will the United States be next? Question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader. Welcome to another episode of Debate Crypto. It's a beautiful, what's today? Tuesday? Today a Tuesday?
Yep, Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon.
The days are running together. Crusader, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Excited. Lots of things are happening with Binance. Lots of things are happening in the crypto space in general, and even outside the crypto space that could affect the crypto space as well. So lots to cover for sure.
I'm definitely excited to get into it. Chat, welcome everybody. It's good to see everyone. For some reason, we have a little technical issue going on over here where we can't see what's going on, the number of people in the chat. So chat, we love you.
I don't think it's a technical issue. I think it's just nobody's there.
No, I see Brett and Puddles typing, yet it says there's 0 people in the live stream. So
I think since they show up all the time, they just don't count anymore.
Yeah, they're like, we are not going to count these as viewers anymore. They are the regulars. So regulars, welcome. And if you're not a regular, if you're new, drop the word new into the chat. We'd love to hear from you, and I'll make sure to shout you guys out. All right, cool. Let's kick it off. Let's start off. Take a look at the markets. You can see behind my head, debate is in green. That's usually a good sign. Let's see what it looks like. The global crypto market cap is at 1.14 trillion with the T dollars. That is up 0.97%. Bitcoin flirting around with that 27 number. We're at 27,318. And Ethereum is actually up 3.51%. Love to see that for my ETH bags at 1775. Rolling on through the top 10, we've got one big mover, and you already know what time it is. XRP, baby. XRP fam, we're at 52 cents. That is the highest we have been in a long time. I saw the stat earlier. I don't remember what it is. We're up 10.76%. Rolling through the rest of the top 10, yeah, up a few percent. Bitcoin moves a little bit, then it slows down, and then the alts jump into play. So that's what's going on as it relates to the market overall. Crusader, you got a little TA love you want to show the fam?
Yes, sir. Let me show you guys what I'm seeing in the charts right here. I know people are scared right now. They're like, oh my God, 30K. I thought you said we're going to 30K. Why aren't we there yet? Well, here we go, guys. So as you guys can see here in the chart on the daily for Bitcoin, right? We dropped below this support of 27,100, came all the way down to 26,584. From there, we have been bouncing. We right now, today, reclaiming the 27,14. If we can hold above this, then, this will obviously be a good level to hold here. Could continue this to push us forward. The MACD is, in the bearish RSI, kind of sideways, trying to cool off a little bit. Not technically oversold, but kind of on the higher end of things. But like I said before, we can see irrational behavior like you see back here. We can be well above the oversold on the RSI and still keep moving. Lux Algo is showing that the trend is still strong, right? Still strong buy here. No sell signals from Lux Algo just yet. And, the EQ cloud, bullish. Let me jump down to the 4 hours, see if I can see something different. But overall, yeah, EQ cloud things, these things are coming to consolidate. Maybe the EQ cloud flips bearish, but until it does, it's still bullish. And the MACD on the 4 hours actually trying to turn bullish. RSI is pretty low, so it has plenty of room to run up. So the 4 hours looking pretty bullish as well. So we could continue to move up here in the next 4 hours or so.
Yeah, I'd like to see him move up. Hey, Crusader, I just want to throw this out here. When you look on YouTube right now, it still says upcoming. I looked in the, just kind of pulled up the destinations up in the corner, and it's saying, as I look at it, if you pull it up, just letting you know, it's saying sending data.
So we're live on YouTube. I'm looking at it. I'm watching.
I'm looking at it too, but I'm just saying it's saying sending data, and it's got 2 people in there. So I don't know what's going on. Oh, well, we'll keep it rocking. Chat, again, thank you for being here. Kenton, I see you. Welcome to the stream. All right, let's kick it off. Let's dive into, what are we going to get into first? Let's talk about Binance. Binance is always up in the news. So why would today be any different? All right, so for the Let's see here. Here it is. Binance case is clear evasion of law, says CFTC Chair Benham. Yeah, absolutely. So Binance has been accused of knowingly offering unregistered crypto derivatives products by the CFTC. The CFTC being sued by Binance and its CEO, CZ, they're saying that they've violated laws around futures transactions, failing to register their as a FTC, as an FC, a futures commission merchant, and poorly supervising operations, among other things. So let me ask you a question, Crusader. So you can get sued for, quote, poorly supervising operations. I feel like that's a very vague thing to be getting sued for. I know it's obviously failing to register, but it literally lists on there that they're poorly supervising operations. So now we're getting sued for just being a little bit too lax
in
on how
today's
we do things.
world, we get sued. People get sued for absolutely anything and everything you can imagine. So
Yeah.
that right now, this is. I know we're going to dive deeper into this, but this is all part of Operation Choke Point. They are coming hard after crypto right now because of what's happening in the banking situation with their liquidity crisis with the US dollar. They have to come out strong against crypto to
Yeah.
prevent the massive flood from opening and going towards crypto as an alternative.
Yeah. It said that there was basically clear documentation on Binance's part. Basically, they had intent to evade the law. There's an ongoing case that's been going on about fraud since 2019. They violated the Commodity Exchange Act. So there's a lot happening here, but they've got actual chats from Binance that they filed in the court documents. One of them was an exchange from their CCO, their chief compliance officer, encouraging the use of virtual private networks, VPNs, to conceal the location of US users. So Crusader, but CZ came back and just said, hey, this is not a competent recital of the facts. We're not having it, and basically is saying it's a bunch of fugazi. But ultimately, let me ask you this: why would Binance want to conceal their US users? Do you think it was just to be able to keep, because Binance, we have Binance US,
Yep.
it's just to keep the current people that were already on Binance and allow them to spend money?
I guess, man, maybe, Binance is just one of these tricky ones, right? Like super powerful in the space, has tons of wiggle room to move around, do whatever they keep pretty much please. Right. They have even they're just so strong in the space and so powerful, man, that I think they just do what they want to do and they ask for forgiveness later. That's been the method that they've been taking in the approach, and that's how crypto kind of is. And it's been working out for them. So was this intentional? Was it not intentional? Are they really up to some crazy fugazi? I mean, at the end of the day, these are centralized exchanges. These are centralized entities. There's people with motives. Gen does this. So whenever there's people that are mixed in with the fold, then there's always going to be some type of problem, right? Not trying to defend in any kind of way that CZ is some type of like saint and the savior of the space, because
Yeah.
a few weeks ago everyone was, that CZ was the saint and the savior. But at the end of the day, all these people, nobody's a saint. Don't glorify any of these people, because at any moment it can come crashing down.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I wonder, they're going after Binance. That's obviously the biggest exchange of
I
them
mean, they're coming
all.
after Coinbase too.
That's what I was about to say. But they're coming after kind of everyone at this point.
Well, Coinbase
And
is ready, dude. Coinbase is ready.
what do you
Coinbase
mean?
is going to destroy them.
Because it's going to destroy who? The
The
SEC or the
SEC, yeah,
CFTC?
dude. Whoever comes after them, they're gonna destroy them, because they've been around in the states since early on with crypto, right? Very first exchange that came on about, like, in the United States, and try to do everything as legal as possible, right? Has had countless meetings with the regulators, everybody in power, to make sure that nothing that they're doing is wrong. And now they're getting hit with the, oh, you're selling securities. And it's like, we have all the like I Ben mentioned this on his show, that they have all the documentation. Or was it was around, it was actually their other show, the
A
basement
blockchain?
show. What's it called? Yeah, blockchain basement. There you go. I was gonna say around the basement. I was mixing both shows together. um, they were talking about how they have everything well documented. They're ready and prepared, that they knew that this day was gonna come, and they're gonna destroy them. Along with this FTC thing going after Binance, I saw a tweet that it was actually dropped. I don't know exactly all the details, but they was dropped because this is just a move by the CFTC to show that the problems that are occurring in crypto are commodity issues, and they're just trying to flex their power on the SEC, and that the SEC is not taking the right approach. But that's what I was saying. I can show you the tweet here. It was actually retweeted by Ben as
I
well.
could get on I could get on board with that though. I mean, ultimately we really want the CF if somebody's going to regulate it, I think at this point in time, if we don't have our own regulator that's just for crypto, if we don't have that, I think we want this to be the CFTC, because the moment that this is a commodity instead of a security, some of the laws change that I think could be really good for crypto.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know if you can see my screen here.
Hmm.
Eleanor,
Hmm.
she retweeted that saying she tweeted saying that according to some familiar sources that CFTC lawsuit was dropped on Binance without warning. Similar to Coinbase as well. Notice some of this industry is showing that this was just a flex by the FTC to show that the SEC is it's just a commodities issue. It's not a securities issue. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to flex on them and say, hey, SEC, you don't know what you're doing. Get out of here. And
Yeah.
they're just making moves.
Yeah, they're
Just a political
the
thing.
guy Benham, I think that was the whatever his title is. I think he's the chair, Rostin Benham or whatever, was saying, "Listen, I don't care whether they have a headquarters or a location. It's not going to prevent us from going after them." So they're basically saying, no matter what, we're coming. And so I'll be very interested to see, is this just a FUD campaign on the crypto space, or are they dead serious about like putting these exchanges in their crosshairs? I don't know.
I
We'll
don't know,
figure
man.
out as
I,
it goes
I
further.
definitely think the FUD campaign, it's things to is to keep people at bay from crypto right now, to
Yeah.
keep people second guessing, like, oh, maybe
Hmm.
crypto is not as safe. Maybe I shouldn't be buying some Bitcoin. Maybe I should keep my money in the bank and not, move my money from there. Continue to trust the US dollar. They don't want to talk about all the danger and warning signs that are coming up for the dollar and what's happening over there. They don't want to talk about that. They just want to continue to use their FUD campaign on crypto and keep people
Yeah.
distracted.
Yeah, I really do think it is for sure that. If you are over on Twitter, welcome. We just wanted to let you guys know we are live every single day with our YouTube stream at the same time. So we've got a Twitter space going on. We've got the live here. We're actually over on Twitch as well. Just letting you guys know if anybody is on Twitch. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yeah, there's lots happening. You know what else is happening? SBF is about to feel some more pain. So
Ay, ay, ay.
and that pain could get even uglier. I was talking about some thinking that he was going to be able to skirt out and get 10, 15 years or something like that. This is looking all bad, and this one gets real bad. So check this out. So SBF indicted for bribing China officials to unfreeze Alameda funds. Okay, let's talk more about it. So SBF, obviously, we all know who he is, had a scheme where he directed more than $40 million in crypto towards Chinese officials in exchange for their help with unfreezing the Alameda Research trading accounts. Apparently, the accounts had like a billion, that's with a B, in cryptocurrency in them. So before he did that, and this is what I think is interesting. So he's like, okay, what do I do? I've got $1 billion tied up. And listen, I sympathize, bruh. That would be awful, right? I got $1 billion tied up. By the way, to be fair though, he just like created the $1 billion out of thin air, just like the wonderful Fed does. But he said before he did that, he tried to unfreeze the accounts by just doing things in the background with the exchanges. He had even retained lawyers in China, opened fake accounts on the exchange, used like identifying information that were not affiliated with FTX Alameda. He went every single way he could before finally saying, what am I going to do? Well, I don't know. You're able to pay people to do just about anything. So let's see what a little 40 mil will do for some Chinese officials. So he's pleaded not guilty to the charges. One of the charges was conspiracy to commit wire fraud, derivatives fraud, securities fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering. And there was others. And and you know who else was named? Oh, you know it, Caroline Ellison. And then a few other names that I'm not very familiar with, although one of them, Gary Wang, obviously know who that is. They have pleaded guilty to charges relating to all of the stuff going on with FTX and Alameda, and they're cooperating.
I just want to say that's a whole lot of fraud.
Yeah, a whole lot of fraud that's going to carry a whole lot of time. That's what that's going to carry.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be carried on over into 2024. Like his court date is not until like October of this year. So they've got a long way to go before that court date even comes around. Plus all the extra stuff that's coming out, and then they're going to drag that out as long as possible, dude. It's wild, man. It's wild that, you know, this guy is involved in all these things. They know it. They got, you know, proof, right? They have reason to you know, indict him, all this stuff. And yeah, we got the top G locked up. No bail for him. No, and nothing. You know, everything is just like suspicion. There actually is no charge of anything on him. So
yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here. I really do think that there's no way at this point he gets out of this. So that's he can plead not guilty until the cows come home. He's not going to get out of this. I just think it'll be interesting.
You don't think he'll get like a plea deal?
Well, yes, I do think he's going to get a plea deal, but I think it's going to be ridiculous. I think it's going to be so wild that I think he'll fight it anyway. So you know what I'm saying?
Take the deal. You'll only get 80 years. If you don't take the deal, it's life.
I don't think it'll. You know what? I don't even think it'll be that. I think it will be. I think it might be a deal where there was other things happening possibly in the background that have yet to come to light that officials don't want to come to light. So therefore, he will get the opportunity to have a better deal. That's what I think will happen. However, hold on. However, that deal could come with it the thought process that I'm going to get smoked if you know what I mean? Like, I think there's that pressure too on the back end that says, hey, do I live through this if I tell this information anyway? So I think he's going to have to figure out juggling that. And I just think it'll be interesting. Lawyers are great at wordplay. It'll be really interesting. How do you show this man to be not guilty of all of this stuff that is documented every freaking way?
Dude. And lawyers are like magicians, bro. They can make anything appear and disappear.
Well, it's like the fair notice stuff with Ripple that they're going after. Like, they've gone 20,000 different directions. Is it a good point? Sure. But ultimately, is it where we came from at all? No, it is, hey, here's an avenue. Here's an avenue. Here's an avenue. And one of the avenues, the judge is going to be like, yeah, I could get down with that. So I don't know. I think
I don't know. I'm curious to see like how big his case is compared to like other white collar crime cases in the past.
Oh, like Bernie Madoff?
Yeah, like Madoff and Wolf on Wall Street and all these other people, right? And you know, the kind of deals that they made, the amount of years that they got versus like him that is not in such a regulated space. It was done abroad, right? Like he had like an entity that was outside of the United States that was doing the majority of this. And, you know, a lot of it didn't really leak into FTX US or whatever it was. I don't know, man. I don't know if maybe he gets to slip because of that. Like he just like gets to slip on by. I have no idea, dude.
Look what Ken said. Extradite him to China. just ship him off.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to be there real soon.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are things that we talk about on Twitter Spaces because we can't exactly talk about them on the YouTube. So let me jump into the chat real quick. Edgar Parra, good to see you. Diamond Sauce up in the house. Justin Eubank says, yo, what's up, Justin? And then Wick, as always, good to see you. And then obviously I said hi to the other homies in the chat. Again, thank you guys for being here every single day, Monday through Friday. Well, Monday through Friday anyway, 3 p.m. So keep coming back. Smash the like, turn on the notifications, whatever issue we were having today. Hopefully that's not still going on. And yeah, we'll just continue.
We're just rocking and rolling right through it. And yes, Top G is still locked up for anybody that didn't know. Yes, he is.
That is
with no sight of ending anytime soon.
No, not even kind of. All right. So that's what's going on over in SBF world, which I wouldn't want to be in. Let's talk about my girlfriend here. Let's talk about ETH. We've got an interesting. When I heard this, I thought that I was like, I don't know. It seems like a really large number. Check this out. So, well, let's get this.
Oh, nice little ad right there.
I know. For the first time since 2015, nearly 90% of the ETH, 90% of the ETH supply.
For the people that
now
don't speak
in
English,
self-custody.
90.
90. Yes. And so 90%, that's such a freaking huge number. So I started looking into this a little bit, and it was on Santiment, which has all of that kind of data that they look through. So 90% in self-custody right now. Just 10.31%. So I guess technically it's probably 89.69%, not 90, of the ETH supply is now held on exchanges. Okay. Why do we think that is? Oh, well, let me tell you. Everyone started moving in mass to self-custody, which we've been telling you to do. We've got a ledger link down below the stream. I can hear my daughter outside the room, but apparently she's not coming in to say hi to daddy. So Addison wants to remind everybody, get your ledger, get yourself on self-custody. That link is down below the stream. But everyone was moving to self-custody since September when the FTX meltdown. That's kind of what kicked it off. We always say, don't get FTX, right? Decentralized platforms, decentralized exchanges, people are waking the heck up. Now, also, the stuff going on with Binance and the CFTC, which we just talked about. What is that? That's a centralized exchange issue, right? We had information that Coinbase was kind of in some hot water. That's a centralized exchange issue. All of this stuff has people doing what? It has people moving to self-custody. And I'll tell you this, CZ was saying that it's a FUD campaign. Well, why would he care? I'll tell you why he'd care, because he wants your money on his exchanges. They apparently processed, let me double check this number. They processed $850 million. So check this out. Investors withdrew $850 million from Binance in the 12 hours preceding this indictment that just happened with Binance, okay? And they showed that the company saw $400 million in net outflows over the past 24 hours. Now, the good news is they didn't shut anything down. They were able to handle the volume.
They always do. They always perform well under pressure, dude. Like their platform is pretty well, stacked up versus other platforms. And this whole thing with CZ is also, he's kind of showing that, hey, like they can't really go after Binance because Binance is mainly outside of the US in the first place. They can go after him personally, but that won't affect the business. The business will still keep rocking and rolling, and they'll probably just end up in some type of settlement. I mean, I'm pretty sure, it's like every other white collar crime. Every time they catch a bank, laundering money for the cartels, they're just like, hey, bad, don't do that.
Pay us money.
Yeah, give us $100 million and we're good. All right,
pay us $100 million of the drug money that you just laundered. Like, and
we're
right?
good. We're good. Hey, we just want a piece.
That's right. We just want a piece of the action. That's right. We just need a piece of the action. So for all of you out there getting a piece of that action, just be careful because they're coming after it. Hey, we got our boy Greg Gressick in the house. What's up, Greg? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for swinging by. I saw that message you just sent me. We will get that signed and taken care of, good sir. All right, cool. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Do you think that there's a reason that Ethereum specifically is at such a high number? Because it's not that high. At least my understanding is it's not that high for other assets.
I think a lot of people are waking up to the aspect that a lot of people are going to be priced out of Ethereum pretty soon. A lot of people have lost money on these other platforms like Celsius and whatever, staking their ETH. And I think that the burning mechanism of Ethereum as well has led people to understand that, hey, Ethereum is only going to get scarcer and scarcer and scarcer, and the price is going to keep going up and up and up. And most people are going to be, what's the word? I just used it. Priced out. They're going to be priced out of ETH to hold, a whole ETH, a whole 2, 3, 4, 5 ETH or whatever it is. So I think people are being more aware of what they do with their ETH.
They're vigilant. They're being more vigilant with their money.
Where they keep it. Just how the Bitcoin Maxi Street Bitcoin, and they're just saying, "Hey, I'm not willing to risk the ETH on these places."
Yeah, I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in the crypto space was locking on and latching on to Ethereum. Now, candidly, was I at that point kind of following the understanding of what, like the crowd, I guess at that point? Yeah, I was, but guess what? It ended up working out pretty well with the markets absolutely, just kind of down overall versus where they've been all time high, still 500% or more, 1,000% in the green. You know what I mean? So yes, Harry, ETH is the juggernaut. I think ETH is going to be what's going to have my feet kicked up on a beach someday. So going to try to keep stacking that ETH. That's for sure. Hey, real quick, I want to touch on this. Crypto Trends says, curious if I can get on the show one day. Big crypto believer, and those vests are sick. Started a channel, 800 organic subs. Hey, just wanted to tell you congratulations on the 800 subs. It's this YouTube gig. This YouTube gig is tough. And yeah, man, we definitely bring people on the show sometime. We could have a chat about it. Send us an email, debatecrypto@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. We'd be happy to chat it over.
Yes, sir.
All right. What do we got next? Let me see here.
I know we got some Bitcoin news.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
fun one.
Quick little intermission of what we're talking about before we can jump in.
Yeah.
Did you know that MicroStrategy only needs 66,000 and some change more Bitcoin to pass the United States? That's how much Bitcoin the United States has.
Hold on. You said MicroStrategy needs a small amount of Bitcoin.
MicroStrategy, it's not a small amount. It's 66,000.
Oh, 66,000. I thought you were saying they were only like 66K like dollars.
No,
like
not dollars.
Bitcoins.
Bitcoins, my friend. We talking crypto here. We're not talking about dollars.
Oh, like what?
Yeah. The United States has like $5.8 billion worth of Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy just bought like $150 million worth more of Bitcoin just recently. It was like 6,000 something Bitcoin, but they are short by 66,000 Bitcoins from the U.S. government to pass them. So we've talked about how much Bitcoin the government has. The government. I'm gonna pull up the exact numbers so that we can see it. But it is just.
And there's a reason they're holding it, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll tell you why. I genuinely believe it is to get it's more than just to get a piece of the action. It's to have that ability to make moves should things move against the way that they want it to go. I think that's really what it is. It gives them a position of control and power for sure.
Dude, it makes me think the only reason. More and more that, the whole conspiracy theory of the CIA, NSA creating Bitcoin so that the people can absorb Bitcoin as their own thing, as a revolution. And then they're just in the background stacking it up, picking it up, knowing that at some point they're going to have to ditch the dollar, right? The dollar is going to die. And this is the way they can transfer their wealth without losing it and gaining even more wealth at the same time, because they're going to be riding that price all the way up.
That would be a very, listen, I give the government credit on some realm, but man, that would be such a well thought out plan to give people the idea that they came up with this revolutionary idea. Oh yeah, by the way, we know in advance it's probably going to do really well, so we'll stack a bunch of it up right now. And then when the US dollar collapses, which we know it will, like, it's a very well thought out plan if that were to be the case. And hey, side note, if that were to be the case, what would Bitcoin do if people found out? Because people found out about Kennedy, and nobody really said too much. And
well, dude, I don't know what would happen to Bitcoin at that point if it is revealed that the United States, the NSA, whatever, some shadow government created it. And I also believe, I don't know what's going to happen. I also believe that even if that were to come out, right, like we've mentioned it here multiple times, I think it would take so long and Bitcoin would become so big by that point that narrative is just going to be swept under the rug. Most people are not going to care, right? The same reason why people buy XRP. They don't care that it's tied to the banking system or any of that, right? They're just like, hey, it's making me money, I'm buying it. Oh, Bitcoin's going to $1 million, I'm buying it. I don't care the NSA, the CCP, or whoever made it, right? I'm just going to buy it. And a lot of people are just going to ignore that fact, even if it does get revealed.
Yeah, I do wonder what would happen. And I want to shout out Rob wants to know if we're concerned about hyperinflation within the next 2 years. Yeah, I mean, depending on what your depending on what your thoughts on hyperinflation are we talking about a $50,000 cheeseburger? Like, no, I don't think it's going to be that, but we are in trouble. The US dollar is collapsing.
I don't think it's going to be 50,000, but I definitely see $100 McDonald's.
$100 McDonald's. It already feels like that when we go. I don't eat fast food like at all. And just recently, my wife and I took my daughter and we're driving through, I think it was Arby's. And I think for me to eat a combo, her to eat a combo, and get a little kids thing. It was like $38.
Yep.
And I was like, what? Excuse
Yep.
the lady told me the price, and I was like, are we sitting down somewhere and I'm not aware of it or what? Because that number seems ridiculous. And people have been
Dude,
telling me because I don't do it like at
a
all
Big
anymore.
Mac is like $10,
Really?
bro. It's almost $10 with taxes and everything. Like it's ridiculous. Like a combo meal is like almost $10. Almost anything, right? I remember when it was $5. A
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Mac was $5 at max.
Well, I'm going to date myself here, but I remember when it was $1.
I remember when they made only one McDonald's all the way in California. Oh,
Yeah.
good God.
So I don't know, man. It is getting ugly for sure. I do think that inflation is going to be a
I think
problem.
hyperinflation is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. I think we're walking that path. Is it going to be hyperinflation where like it just takes off in 90 days and Bitcoin's $1 million?
I don't think we'll let that happen.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we're slowly easing into the so the last 2 years we have now gained confidence in inflation. We have lived with it for 2 years now, and we're kind of
that's a good point.
comfortable, right? We're comfortable with gas prices go up, but then they come down a little bit. Yeah, eggs shot up, so I stopped buying eggs for a little bit.
But it's stair steps. It's like this.
Yeah, it
And then
goes
it
up
just
and then it comes
gradually
down. You're like, oh, it came down, but it's still a lot higher than what it was before, right? Meats go up. Well, it came back down, but it's still higher than it was before. And people are just getting accustomed to higher prices, higher inflation, less money being made in the workforce, right? Wages are not keeping up with inflation.
Oh yeah.
So we're getting comfortable with inflation. And I think this is the same path, right? Now we're printing money, but we're telling you they're saying that they're not printing money, but they are. They wiped out like 6 months worth of tightening in literally like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And they're going to continue printing. And at the same time, if they continue to raise interest rates, we're walking both of these things at the same time. Hyperinflation is only a matter of time. And they will probably 100% redefine what hyperinflation means, right? So that when we get there, they're like, no, this is not real hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is something else. This is something new.
Yeah, it's all about how they present it to you. One of the things that people don't recognize when we have these Fed meetings, and I've talked about this I think once before, when you see inflation, quote unquote inflation, right? If let's say you believe the numbers across the board, which again those are manipulated as well, but when you see it go from, let's just say 8%, yeah, Fugazi for sure. When it goes from 8% to 7%, okay, let me explain something to you. When they say, then the way they present it is that inflation went down, right? What?
It's not hyperinflation, it's superinflation.
And so they'll say, oh, it went down. It didn't go down. It's still up another. If it goes from 8 to 7, it's still up another 7%, right? You were up 8%. It's not now we're down to 7%. We're up 7%. Like they literally, people don't recognize the inflation is still continuing. They want to get it back to 2%, but at what point do you get it back to 2%? How much damage and wreckage happens in the meantime? It's freaking
exactly
wild.
Right. They tell you, oh, inflation is down this month. Down from what? From the previous month, it was 8. So now we're at 7.5, but we still have 7.5% of inflation going on, right? And then it's like, how far back is that 7.5? Is it 7.5% from like last year compared to last year, or is it 7.5% compared to the month before it? Like, how big of what number are we comparing that percentage to, right? Because it's definitely not only 7% from last year.
No, anybody go to the store and know that.
Dude, you're way over 20% at this point, right? And we've been over 20% for a long time when it comes to groceries and stuff like that. So it's all fugazi, dude.
Yeah, I was telling somebody, I think it was a customer, that they have these little 8x8 access panels. It's a piece of plastic with 2 metal springs on it. You get it at Home Depot. That's all it is. It is a piece of plastic with 2 metal springs. It is $26. A roll of 1,000 foot of wire right now, 14.2, is $670. They're charging 67 cents a foot on wire.
At this rate, we're not even going to be able to afford to build the bunker. Jeez, we're just going to have to build a tent.
I'm telling you.
We're going to have to build a tent for 20.
Hang out at our tent. That's right. Our tent will be $100,000. Yeah.
Dude. Oh, look, shout out to Biomex. Biomex said used how to consult with Anthony Price.
Nice.
Awesome, dude. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was a great experience. It's been for us.
Yeah, Anthony's a great guy. He's done really well for us. All right, so cool. Make sure to smash the likes. Make sure if you don't already have the bell notification, turn that bell notification on. Twitter, shout out to you. We love you. We appreciate you for being here. Let's keep it rolling. So let's talk about another ridiculous thing. How likely is Bitcoin to reach $1 million in the next cycle? So before I dive into kind of the analysis here, let me just ask you, Crusader.
50-50.
Likely or not likely? Don't give me 50-50. Come on. $1 million
those are pretty good odds. If somebody
next
tells you
cycle.
50% chance that Bitcoin hits $1 million, you wouldn't buy a Bitcoin?
I'm
That's a
still
pretty good
stacking.
odds, dude.
I'm still stacking. But I mean, do you actually think you could see $1 million this next cycle?
I know that's a long shot. Like in that next cycle is in 2 years, guys. That like next happening is in 2024, right? We're like 12 months away or 13 months away from the next happening. And then another 13 months after that or 12 months after that is the full bull cycle, of Bitcoin. So we're like 2 years out. So for Bitcoin to hit $1 million,
well,
bro,
yeah.
That's a lot of money.
When it goes back
what would be the market cap of that? Do some Rain Man math for me.
Hold on a second. I gotta see where it's at right now. Hold on. Bitcoin is at 526, and you said to go to $1 million.
Yes.
We'd have to go to 50x. We would be at $25 trillion. No, I'm sorry. Yes. It would be $25 trillion.
25 trillion. So $500,000 would be the market cap of gold. Gold at about 10-11 trillion dollars. We would have to double that up. I mean, dude, the only way that happens is if we do see these bank crises and liquidity issues continue to grow. We have some of that hyperinflation along the way. The only way it's happening in the next 2 years. I mean, I'm not saying we can't hit 200,000, ever, but $1 million, dude, only way. It's the only way.
It's over $20 trillion, dude. It would be absolutely nuts. Okay, so some of these analysts, though, and I actually can get on board with some of this. Some of these analysts were talking about 200K in 2025. Okay, I could talk about that. 500K by 2029. The reality is we're seeing Bitcoin, and I want to stress this. We're seeing Bitcoin, and people that don't understand Bitcoin are starting to hear about. Effectively, this is the flight to safety. This is the opportunity that we could get some of this baby boomer generation and millennials to drive up the value, because that's ultimately what needs to happen. The big money in this country is the baby boomers and the millennials. And there's people like Cathie Wood who know that, right? She's talked about $1 million was a reasonable expectation no later than 2032. So again, these are just people that are smart, that are in the industry, that are projecting on some numbers. But the reality is, and this is what we always stress, the reason that we like to dollar cost average, and we're not giving financial advice on the stream, we're just here to entertain and educate. The reason that we do that is because we don't know when it's going to get to $1 million. We don't know the state of the economy is going to be in 2030. We don't know what inflation is going to look like at that point. But what we do know is that Bitcoin works. We do know that every 210,000 blocks, we're going to have a halving. And what we do know is every time that halving happens, just de facto supply and demand on steroids. Boom. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that day. My concern is that it comes too fast. We've talked about this before.
Exactly, dude.
Where if it comes so fast, like what is $1 million when the cheeseburger is $150, right?
Exactly,
like
right. Somebody
get these wild numbers, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said it. Harry goes, $1 million would be about 100K of today's money. So it's like, what does it really mean with $1 million Bitcoin? Oh yeah, I got $1 million.
Like, I mean, think about it. So think about this. Back in the, let's see, it would have been back in the mid 90s. Oh, it would have been like 1992. My parents bought their house for, and I'm going to get this number a little bit off, but it was like $180,000. And at that point, dude, it was a 4-bedroom, it was a, almost a 4,000 square foot house. Ended up putting a pool in that, like did a bunch of stuff to it afterwards. But here's the point. The point is they just sold it for over $500,000, 20 years later. And And why did that happen? Is it because the value of the actual home is so much more? No, our freaking dollar is worth so much less because $500,000 now, I hate to say it, this is going to sound really crappy, but it's just not that much money anymore. And that used
Especially
to
when
be a massive
house.
number. What's that?
Especially when you're buying a house, right? Because
Yeah.
then that profit is going to be put into the next house,
They
right?
spend
So
too
it's
much money
like,
on.
so
Yeah. At the new prices.
yeah, at the new
Yeah.
prices, right? With
Yeah.
new interest rates and all these things, is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what did that $500,000 really get you? That's the problem with real estate, that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, dude, I bought my house. I'm gonna be a real estate, I'm gonna be rich. It's like, no, you're not, unless you're cash flowing these houses into rentals and having somebody
Mhm.
else pay the liability of the mortgage for you. You buying a house is not gonna be the wealth generation that you think it is, right? Even when you retire, and let's say you retire and you sell that house, unless you're retiring and leaving the states to go to like Bali or somewhere where the dollar is like extremely huge conversion rate,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do anything with that money. That money is not
No.
gonna serve you the wealth that you think it is.
Yeah, and ultimately, a lot of times, if you were to make a move like that, you end up sacrificing a lot to go there. So yeah, you might be wealthy over there, but you're sacrificing a lot to do that, depending on where you go. I want to shout this out. Wick's always got really good things to say. Wick, check out this comment, which leads us to the next question: is this a financial hurricane, or are we in the middle of a financial controlled demolition? Which one do you think it is?
Well, if you look back at 9/11, was it a coincidence or was it controlled demolition?
Definitely getting demonetized on
I
this one.
mean, dude, I'm just saying, I think this is controlled 100%, right? The people at the top are not as dumb as they make you think they are, right? Oh my God, look at these world leaders, right? Biden's an idiot. Why is he in power? He's in power for a reason, right? Yes, he might be an idiot, but the people behind him pulling the strings know exactly why he's there. He's fulfilling a purpose. Everything is under a certain agenda and plan. Everything takes little baby steps. And there is 100% no way that they did not foresee the dollar having the issues that it's having now,
Oh,
and
yeah.
other countries like the BRIC nations in China eventually rising up and being a contender for the world reserve currency. So there is absolutely no way that they did not prepare and have a plan for this. Therefore, we go back to the same conspiracy theory of Bitcoin being introduced by some type of shadow government in the United States to be able to front run this problem.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I don't think that I think if you look at it as and I'll tell you, this is probably not the answer that you want to hear because I'm not picking one or the other. I think it's a little bit of both though at the same time. I think the chaos, you can only expect so much, and then there's like things that happen where you
Yeah,
can't
that's true.
foresee it happening. So for example, like you couldn't see the FTX fraud happening and how that would affect crypto markets, and then how people would run to self custody, and now all of a sudden people are pulling money, and then the banking stuff starts to happen, and people are pulling money, and they have an opportunity to put it somewhere else that's not with the so there's a lot of other factors I think that play into the landscape, but overall I think that it is a game of chess that we are losing, and ultimately we are going to lose. And the queen, who can move anywhere she wants to go, is the CBDC, and it's
Thought the
just
queen was
what I
dead.
see. That's a whole different story. I think that's what it is. They have full reign and control of the board with the queen, and if the queen is the CBDC, they're trying to figure out how do we pin their king, the king being us, the people, to where checkmate, and that's effectively where I think we're headed. So I think that's controlled, but along the way, there's some rooks in the way, and there's a knight, and there's some other issues that are on the board that they're trying to say, okay, now what's my move here? And they're looking at it. Okay, I've got to go. Yeah, we're going to have to move here to control that issue. So I think we're definitely playing a game of chess that we're unfortunately going to lose. All right, so the moment you've all been waiting for. Again, if you haven't smashed that like yet, smash that like. Make sure to be following us on all our socials too. We got lots going on over on the Twitter land as well. All right, the EU. I started off the show, so for those of you that missed it, because we were had something going on at the start of the show, the EU says "F you" to privacy. Is the U.S. Well, that's a good one. I like that one. That's good. And ultimately, we've got problems, and it is stretching out around the world. EU lawmakers vote in favor of payment limits on anonymous crypto wallets. Okay. So we knew that this was going to be an issue. We knew this was going to be something that was going to be happening. But I'm actually kind of surprised at how much control they're trying to exert, how fast, because of the low number. So the number that they're capping, and this is for anonymous wallet transactions, right? So it says that basically their parliament approved limits on payments by unverified crypto users as a part of a money laundering law overhaul. Do you guys hear a similar theme all the time? It's always money laundering, money laundering, money laundering. We don't hear anything about child trafficking, but we hear about money laundering. I don't know, just an interesting thought. So basically, they're forbidding businesses from accepting large cash payments. Take note of that, cash payments. And they're creating an AMLA. It's like the European Union of Anti-Money Laundering Agency. They're creating this new agency for this. What are they doing, though? All right, so they've got 90 of these lawmakers that were in favor, 8 against, and 6 abstentions. So 6 people just weren't there, right? Weren't voting. They're capping it at 1,000 euros, Crusader. $1,000 won't apply if they're regulated or if they're doxxed. But if they're not doxxed, they're not going to allow you to transfer more than 1,000 euros. I'm saying dollars, but they're not going to allow you to transfer more than 1,000 euros in the name of what? In the name of money laundering. And that is not at all what's happening here. Not even kind of. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, dude, we've talked about this before, right? They are going to, Operation Choke Point, right? They're going to go after absolutely anything and everything that has to do with privacy. They're going to make sure that they, put these choke points on these on ramps and off ramps to know where you're sending the money. There is no going to be no anonymous account, no burner account, right? Crypto.com right now, right? Before you send something, you need a 24-hour wait if it's a new address that's never been sent. There has to be a reason why that is there, right? They're collecting all these addresses and they're making sure that they can track it and where you are and all this stuff, dude. It's a problem. I 100% foresee in the future that every single address that you send outside of a centralized exchange is going to have to be whitelisted and registered. Like, yes, this address is KYC'd. This is mine. I own it. If not, they're not going to allow you to send it out to that address. They're gonna flag it. They're not gonna let the transaction happen, and that's the power of the centralized exchanges. That's where they're gonna get you. If you're able to pull it out before or ahead of time, then you can fugazi send it here, there, whatever. Nobody can control you anymore because you got self custody. But meanwhile, you're on that centralized exchange.
So effectively, what you're saying is that, because I was going to ask you this because you're the computer techie, I was going to ask you, like, how are they going to control? They can't. It's not so much that they can control going wallet to wallet. It's that they can control the on ramp and off ramp. And so effectively, they're just saying, hey, listen, good luck getting it off of here. Now, here's the cool thing that I think that this actually opens up. This isn't about money laundering, for those of you who were curious, right? We know that this isn't about money laundering. This is about privacy, lack thereof. This is about tax dollars, and this is about overall exertion of control. That's what's happening here. So if we look at those 3 things, and we look at the fact that money or value is just created by what 2 or more people agree on, right? So now, if more and more and more and more people opt in to something like Bitcoin, opt in to using Ethereum, opt in to using these other assets, guess what? I'll just start accepting that. And they're saying that the businesses, yes, Kenton, that's a good point. I don't know if they kept that or not. They were fighting that, but at any event, and so I wonder, like, what's the choke point then? How are they going to stop me as one of our? How are they going to stop Debate Crypto from taking a crypto payment on whatever, doesn't matter, on an ad that we do or something? How are they going to stop that if then we can turn around and spend that same crypto through another company to do whatever the heck we want?
So I don't know if they do have a solution for that. I don't know what that would be right now. And that's not going to be the problem. The problem is going to be is the on ramp and off ramping, right? It's like
if you have to go to a CBDC at that point, effectively.
Once you go and send that, if you're going to cash that crypto out and you send it to a centralized exchange, they're not going to allow that to come in from any like random burner wallet. It's going to have to be part of the KYC whitelist process. So that's where they're going to start gaining traction on making sure that they know every single one of your wallets and what you're doing, so that there is no, tax evasion, money laundering, or whatever, and they can get you on those things. And that's how they're going to control you, and that's how they're going to, really put a chokehold on you when it comes to on ramping off. That's always going to be the problem. On ramping and off ramping. Decentralized exchanges do provide a solution to that, but it at some point we're gonna have to use something, right? Because you're gonna off ramp into a wallet that's KYC'd, send it from there to another address that's not KYC'd. At some point down the line, you're gonna have to try to do
Oh,
something that is no
yeah.
longer tracked back to you,
Yeah.
to try to keep some level of privacy. But I don't know.
Yeah. And I just listen. I know that money laundering happens. I know that there's illegal activity that happens. It happens with crypto, but the thing that happens the most with is cash, because that's literally, short of you actually having the serial numbers written down, you're not tracking that, right? You don't know whose hands that went into. With this, it just seems like such a huge step, because they know that the largest thing laundered in the world is cash right now. They know that they're trying to push us away from it. They talk about it openly with the World Economic Forum, the WHO, like all of these, the who's who of who actually controls and pulls the puppet strings in the background. They talk about the central bank digital currency as if it's the savior of the world, and it gives all of these beautiful opportunities and da 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 da. Nah, not it. And so I just wonder, if they're right now without a central bank digital currency in place, the EU doesn't have a CBDC that's like in place. If they're already saying, hey, we're going to limit crypto transactions to this, as if you're not doxxed, I don't think it's that far of a stretch to say, hey, listen, the other thing they listed in the article was they can't accept large cash payments. Why would they care about that? Well, they would care about that, because again, tax money. Or if you want to get on board with what they were saying with money laundering, okay, cool. But really what it is they want to get rid of cash. They want to get rid of the ability for you to have any sort of privacy at all, period. And the blockchain is going to be a beautiful, awful thing at the same time. I think we're going to see some beautiful things come from blockchain technology. And I think we're going to see a lot of, crap, just like anything in life, right? You can use a tool that is for defense or for home security or whatever to do awful things, right? It's the same thing with anything else. You can
No, look what they
always
did. They
use it.
took Bitcoin, and then they got that idea of Bitcoin, and then they created XRP.
Couldn't help yourself. You had to take a shot on a day when XRP is the most up in the top 10. Shout out XRP
It's
fam.
only taken 5 years. Let them have their moment.
Crypto fam, we love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Again, we're here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you for taking your time. Make sure you subscribe. Check out Danger Close Alpha. We're still continuing to sell the commodities, bullets, beans, and bourbon. Those are 0.01. So I think that's around like 17, 18 bucks right now. As soon as we get through the rest of these, we're giving away 5 Ethereum. So somebody's going to win that 5 ETH. Is it going to be you? I don't know. Get on board. We've got a vest that we'll be giving away here pretty soon. Maybe another 40 or so. I'm not really sure what the number is, but maybe another.
Yes, it's like 30.
This is like 30. Okay, so like 30 NFTs from now. We're going to be giving away a vest. Somebody mentioned in the chat they wanted a vest. Hey, go buy 30 NFTs and we'll put your name in the raffle, and maybe you can.
Let's go.
It. Let's go. All right, crypto fam. Again, thank you for being here. You could be anywhere, but you're hanging out here with Debate Crypto. So just remember to question everything.
Trust nothing.
And until next time, hodl.
Like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.